Good evening. I'd like to reconvene the meeting of Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education on Tuesday, October 10th, 2017. Mr. Fiorentino, please call the roll.
Stevens. Here. Scarpino.
Present.
Miller.
Present.
McNicholas.
Present.
Kopaz.
Present.
Garcia.
Present.
And Fiorentino. Present.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Hyde, and I will let any parents, guardians, people that would like to take pictures of our young pledge leaders, please feel free to roam around the room wherever you want to take pictures, including behind us or anywhere, as long as you are not blocking another person from taking pictures. Mr. Hyde.
Madam President, members of the board, members of the community, students, and visitors, as well as D300 staff, welcome to this evening's meeting. At this time, I'd like to introduce Miss Nancy Regal and her wonderful students from Hampshire Elementary School, who will be leading us in tonight's pledge. Best bow tie ever.
Good evening, Superintendent Hyde, members of the school board, and members of the D300 community. I'm Nancy Regal. I am the principal of Hampshire Elementary School, and I am proud to bring with me some students from Hampshire Elementary School. They represent kindergarten through 5th grade. They were chosen by the staff of Hampshire Elementary School as being model students who embody our core values of respect, leadership, kindness, and a growth mindset. And if you listen very closely, they are going to introduce each other and share with you why they were specifically chosen.
Hi, this is Evan. He puts a lot of effort on his independent tests and is doing well at following directions. Hi, this is Ava. She leads by example and respects pause. Hi, this is Pat. He's respectful. He takes responsibility for his actions and leads the way.
Enthusiastic.
Hi, this is Nico. He's enthusiastic and learns from his mistakes. Hi, this is Nico. No, hi, this is Naeem. He was the leader, vowed ethics, defender, and working hard. Hi, this is Kendall. He's a role model. He shows empathy and participates in discussions.
Guys,
So if you will all please stand and join us now in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
okay. Mr. Ghost. Sorry, I forgot to pause for pictures. Not quite.
If I could just make one statement, we had the opportunity to meet with the children beforehand,
and we found out that one of the fathers takes Halloween candy from one of the kids.
Reese's peanut butter cups.
Reese's peanut butter cups, and we recommended places to hide them from Dad. So,
Okay, moving on. We are going to remove item 15 from the agenda. So I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Mr.
Ste-
Fiorentino.
Mr. Stevens. Fiorentino, aye. Garcia. Aye. Lopez. McNicholas.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
And Scarpino.
Aye.
7-0.
Okay, moving on. Mr. Hyde.
Madam President, members of the board, members of the community, and staff, again, welcome to this evening's meeting. It is my pleasure at this time to introduce several key members, both stakeholders and employees, who are being recognized tonight for Blue Ribbon Society. The first this evening is Mr. Rich Janik. He has 10 years of service on the Gilbert's Elementary PTO. So the Blue Ribbon Society, as you know, acknowledges individuals who demonstrate the admirable qualities while striving to achieve District 300's central mission to ensure that all students are college career ready upon graduation. Tonight, I have the privilege of recognizing 5 different individuals for tonight's Blue Ribbon recognition. Our first recipient this evening is Rich Janik. Am I pronouncing that correct? Janik? Thank you. 2017 marks Rich's 10th year on the PTO board at Gilbert's Elementary. Rich is currently the PTO president and has served in this role for most of his years on the PTO. Rich has been a member of the Gilbert's Elementary PTO since its inception and has been credited as building it from the ground up. Rich is always searching for ways to improve the educational experiences at Gilbert's Elementary, dedicating a great deal of time to ensure that staff, students, and parents are represented and heard. He has organized numerous family events, overseen fundraisers, and provided support to teachers to improve their classrooms. With 3 children in 3 different schools, Gilbert's Elementary, Hampshire Middle School, and Hampshire High School, Rich had intended to retire from the PTO board in May 2017, but the Gilbert's Elementary PTO board contained many new members who were unfamiliar with the PTO protocol, so Rich agreed to stay on as president to help guide the new board. Rich will retire from Gilbert's Elementary PTO during this upcoming winter break. Incoming Gilbert's Elementary PTO board president Michelle Bauer said the following about Rich. I've had the joy of serving on the board with Rich for the last 2 years. The word exceptional is an understatement. I'm proud to be his successor, but I know my biggest challenge will be living up to his name. I am grateful for what he has done for our organization, our school, our staff, and our students. So on behalf of District 300, it is my absolute pleasure to recognize Rich Janik for his decade of service to Gilbert's Elementary School. So we do need you to come up front, shake hands, and be recognized. Could you come on up front?
You think you're going to retire, huh?
You mean you're just
That's cute. That's cute.
moving on to a new position?
Oh, don't worry.
I'd like the certificate back.
Thank you so much.
I believe Dr. Bending in the audience. There he is. You need to tap into that resource, sir. Okay. Next on the list, I have the pleasure of introducing 2 fine employees, Ms. Nayeli Correa and Carmen Murphy. So the ability for schools to communicate effectively with families is essential to establish parent engagement. Studies have consistently demonstrated that parent engagement increases the likelihood of students' overall success. The achievement of parent engagement in District 300 also requires strong translation services. Tonight, it is my honor to recognize 2 of our Spanish language translators, Nayeli Correa and Carmen Murphy, who have consistently gone above and beyond to meet the needs for our Spanish-speaking families. Both Carmen and Nayeli spend long hours working on translations. Sometimes the work involves translating a long document such as an 80-page student handbook, and other times they're provided with an urgent message that needs to be translated immediately. And sometimes they stand in front of a crowd and assist us with live translations for our families during presentations. Carmen and Nayeli are extremely committed to our district, successfully juggling busy family schedules in order to cover our district's evening events as well. Through their careers, Nayeli and Carmen have consistently demonstrated tremendous levels of professionalism and outstanding work ethic. We are especially proud to have both working in our central office. On behalf of District 300, I'd like to thank both Nayeli and Carmen for their tireless commitment to District 300 and invite them up to be recognized by the board. This evening, last but certainly not least, tonight's final Blue Ribbon Society Award recipients are Becky Gilliam and Claudette Russell. Becky Gilliam is a resident of West Dundee and has been a member of the Construction Facility Oversight Committee since 2009. As a committee member, Becky brings her experience from serving as Kane County District 21 board member to assisting District 300 with the oversight of building referendum projects, reviewing processes for change orders, and oversight of the facility rental agreement used by community members. During Becky's time on the committee, she has reviewed individual building projects, the master facility plan, safety program enhancements, and assisted with the selection of the district's construction management and architectural service vendors. That's a lot to say in one paragraph. Becky's perspective as a Kane County board member and a longtime resident of the school district has been immeasurable. She is truly an asset to the committee, School District 300, and our community. Ms. Russell is a resident of Algonquin and has also been a member of the Board Finance Committee since 2015. This past summer, Claudette also joined the Construction and Facilities Oversight Committee. She has made tremendous contributions to both committees with her professional expertise as a CPA. As a committee member, Claudette attends monthly meetings where she reviews and provides oversight of the district's treasurer's reports, budgets, audits, financing proposals, insurance programs, professional service contracts, bids, staffing, enrollments, levies, and tax incremental financing arrangements. Claudette's reason for joining the committee was to support her grandchildren who attend District 300 schools. Not only is Claudette a fantastic committee member, she is a great role model for her grandchildren. So on behalf of District 300, I'm proud to recognize Becky Gilliam and Claudette Russell for their contributions to our district.
Moving on, Mr. Hyde. Oh, sorry, we're my mistake.
Madam
there.
President,
Good
that
news.
concludes the Blue
That
Ribbon
concludes the
Society
blue-
recognition.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Steve, Mrs. Lopez.
Everyone Reading Illinois, a statewide nonprofit organization dedicated to the study and remediation of dyslexia and the support and encouragement of individuals with dyslexia and their families, have awarded Sleepy Hollow Elementary School as the 2017 It Takes a Village Award winner. The It Takes a Village Award recognizes schools who perform outstanding work with students who are dyslexic. The award is a testament to Sleepy Hollow's commitment to benefit students who struggle to read. In an award letter addressed to Sleepy Hollow Elementary, the Everyone Reading Illinois organization states, Sleepy Hollow's team is an inspiration for what happens when leadership, research, best practices, and dedication come together. Sleepy Hollow Elementary will be recognized for their achievement on October 25th during a conference at the Northern Illinois University Conference Center in Naperville. Congratulations to Sleepy Hollow Elementary.
This is also a very big deal. Mr. John Betts has been named National Coach of the Year by the United States Professional Tennis Association. John Betts, the boys and girls tennis coach at Jacobs High School, was recently named the National Coach of the Year by the United States Professional Tennis Association. When asked to comment on the award, Coach Betts told the Northwest Herald, I'm fortunate to have great groups of young men and women who put in the extra effort above and beyond anything I've asked. I've been blessed to have the players I've had. It's a big credit to the work that they put in. And that's also typical of the humility that he shows on a continuing daily basis. In 2016, Coach Betts led the Jacobs boys tennis team to a 21-2 overall record and coached the girls team to a 24-1 record. Both teams went on to win the district titles. The boys team went on to win the regional title and placed 10th in the state tournament. The girls team placed second in the regional tournament and placed 39th in the state tournament. In addition to his successes on the court, Coach Betts also conducts community tennis clinics to raise money for the Muscular Dystrophy Association and Special Olympics. He also serves as the president of the Algonquin Community Tennis Association and secretary of the Illinois High School Tennis Coaches Association. Coach Betts will attend the board meeting on December 12th for formal recognition of this accomplishment.
Eighth annual District 300 Paraeducators Veterans Day Collection Drive. The District 300 paraeducators are proud to announce the 8th annual Veterans Day Collection Drive benefiting Operation Support Our Troops, Illinois. From now until Friday, November 3rd, each District 300 school will collect a specific item that soldiers have personally requested. Parents are invited to send one or two of these items to school with their child. Here in the District 300 Central Office, staff will be collecting cans of Pringles. The complete list of items can be viewed by visiting d300.org/Veterans Day Drive. On behalf of our D300 paraeducators, we sincerely thank our community for your support and generosity, and they collect a lot of stuff. Thank you.
Last week, District 300 students recycled broken skateboards and turned them into jewelry as part of a program sponsored by the D300 Foundation. A group of 60 art students from all three District 300 high schools traveled to Fargo Skateboarding Park in DeKalb, Illinois, to learn how to create wearable art from recycled skateboards. Students worked with artist and skateboarder, and please forgive me if I don't say the name correctly, Ariel Reese, to learn how to carve and sculpt multicolored wooden deck layers of old skateboards into unique jewelry pieces, and they are quite beautiful. I don't know. Oh, we don't have, okay. Ariel guided District 300 students on using a variety of tools such as drill presses, hole saws, and oscillating sanders to cut shapes from the wood and sculpt them into wearable rings exposing the multicolored layers. The project was funded through a roughly $3,000 grant from the District 300 Foundation, which has awarded nearly $500,000 in local grants supported through private donations and fundraisers. Thank you so very much to the District 300 Foundation for your continued commitment to our district.
October is National Bullying Prevention Month. Throughout October, D300 schools have implemented bullying prevention events and activities into their lessons. Hampshire Middle School observed Bully Prevention Day on Monday, October 16th. During Bully Prevention Day, students signed a bully prevention pledge and attended classes where teachers implemented subject-specific bullying prevention lessons into their ELA, math, science, and social studies units for the day. Dundee Crown High School implemented a Stomp Out Bullying campaign that included cyberbullying awareness lessons. Later that week, Dundee Crown will launch the 5 Values of Mental Health campaign that includes units on awareness, anti-stigma, help-seeking, storytelling, and being proactive. To support Bullying Prevention Month, District 300 Parent University also hosted an event called Bullying, Empowering Parents and Children on October 21st. The presentation featured speaker Todd Rowling, District 300's Director of School Safety. Todd shared his wealth of knowledge about the causes, effects, and prevention techniques for bullying. He also provided important information about what parents can do if their children are involved in bullying situations. District 300 is proud to support Bullying Prevention Month, and we thank our staff for their commitment to bullying prevention lessons and activities.
Well, the following is a fundraiser that's near and dear to our family's hearts. The Jacobs High School Performing Arts Boosters will host their 5th annual Holiday Spectacular Art Fair on Saturday, November 4th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Jacobs High School. Admission is only $2. All funds raised during the Holiday Art Fair will support the Performing Arts program at Jacobs High School. I encourage you to go out and get your fall treats and holiday gifts. Thank you.
On Friday, October 20th, Jacobs High School hosted an assembly to honor Evan Jaeger. During the event, Evan, who earned a silver medal in the men's 3,000-meter steeplechase at the 2016 Rio Olympic Games, donated his Olympic jersey to Jacobs High School. Evan's jersey, shoes, and bib from his Olympic race will be enshrined in a special display at the school, along with his high school and college uniforms, his Jacobs Hall of Fame picture, and a plaque commemorating his accomplishments. During the assembly, the Jacobs High School administration presented Evan with the Distinguished Alumni Award. The Distinguished Alumni Award honors former students who, upon graduation, embody a school's tradition of excellence through their high character and personal achievement. Evan's remarkable personal achievement during the steeplechase at the Olympic Games and his high character that was on display during his address to students during the assembly clearly demonstrated why he was a perfect candidate for this award. On behalf of District 300, the Board of Education would like to thank Evan Jaeger for his generous donation to Jacobs High School.
Thank you. And that concludes District 300 Good News. Mr. Hyde, Superintendent Report.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, members of the board, at this time I'd like to bring Ms. Cara Vicente up to the podium, our Chief Academic Officer, and she will cover the first topic tonight, which is an overview of the 2017-2018 school improvement plans.
That's okay. Yes, it was. But I'm going to introduce our assistant superintendents who will be talking more in detail regarding the school improvement plans. But I can go ahead and get started. So our school improvement plan overview, all of our school improvement plans were established both long-term and short-term goals that are going to support the improvement of the identified performance areas. Last year we came and presented to you and talked about some of the changes that we had been making in our school improvement plans, and this year we're continuing with those. Plans were developed to include targets in the 4 goal areas that are in the district strategic plan, and plans also include 3-year academic goals with yearly targets in the 4 primary academic areas of math, science, writing, and writing. And academic goals have both a school-wide and a subgroup focus. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Dorn. He's going to talk through the process that all of our assistant superintendents have been using with our schools, because this is really where a lot of the changes occurred this year, and hopefully to make it more of a continuous improvement process and for our principals to keep this document as a living and breathing document. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Dorn.
Good evening, members of the board. As you can see up there, between August 2nd and October 4th, the district office provided support to the building principals. And first of all, we did a summer data dig with the principals. In addition to that, our content directors at the district met with the principals to give suggested activities to be incorporated into their school improvement plans. After that, the building principals went back with their building level school improvement teams to finalize their plans and then turn them in to the assistant superintendents. And just so that you know, the assistant superintendents meet with the building principals monthly, and one of the target areas is to monitor and review the implementation of their plans at the building level. To give you a little bit of a practical perspective of the execution of the plans, we've provided you a couple of sample goals. This particular goal here is aligned to the district strategic goal number 1, which is to develop great teachers and leaders. And in this particular goal, while I won't read it, this school is focusing on the area of quality professional development at the building level and how teachers work together to help make each other better in their delivery of service to students in the classroom. An example activity might be is they're currently working on what's called Costa's Levels of Thinking, and this is where teachers develop strategies to guide students to engage in higher level thinking skills. This is also monitored and developed through formal observations, professional learning community meetings and conversations, informal conversations, and really their professional development activities are built around this. Another SIP goal, which is aligned to one of the academic goals, this goal happens to be in the area of math, and this school is seeking to make a 10% gain of the percentage of students meeting or exceeding PARCC in the area of math. And this is only one of several activities to help meet this goal, but this school is working on the utilization of math manipulatives as an instructional tool during daily math instruction. And so these are just a couple sample goals. We'd like to just reiterate that the school improvement process is ongoing, and the district is committed to working with the building level teams. And the school improvement plans at the building level is really what drives the school's initiatives throughout the school year. So with that in mind, I'm happy to entertain any questions you might have.
No, I'd like to point out that we did receive detailed information of each of the school improvement plans. And I think, aren't they on for approval tonight?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And so between our last meeting and this meeting, board members have had an opportunity to go through pages of information regarding individual school improvement plans and how they relate to specific strategic goals and what the plan is for implementation of those. But, and I think over the course of the last couple of weeks, any questions that board members may have had regarding those plans would have been funneled through the superintendent. And but I appreciate the overview on how the process is now working. Board members, any questions or comments on that?
Just as a point of reference, you may know that historically we've given you the plans during the summer months. And just due to the fact of not always knowing when state assessment data comes in and so forth, we've pushed that back a little bit to make the plans as appropriate as possible with the most recent data that we have. So thank you.
Great, thank you.
At this time, I'd like to bring, for the next topic on the 2017-2018 staffing overview, I'd like to bring Mr. Mora, the Executive Director for Human Resources, and if he requires any additional backup or there are some questions that he can't address, Ms. Harkin stands at the ready.
Thank you. Well, Superintendent Hyde, Mrs. Miller, and board members, it is my pleasure to present to you a summary of the many hours that the HR department spends throughout the summer in collaboration with the teaching and learning team to make sure that the first day of student attendance, we have a properly certified staff member in front of all of our kids, as well as comply with contractual language. So with that being said, this is just a quick summary of our staff change from last year to this year. We had slight growth in the number of FTE. Overall, a pretty steady number. And again, Mrs. Harkin, I believe, may add additional comments to this particular slide. This is a summary of everything that has taken place for the most part. 1,051 job offers were made throughout the summer in preparation. This is a breakdown of all of the different positions that we went through, including our certified teachers. I'll have a little more explanation to each one of them in a little bit. 168 certified teachers. Over the summer, we have very comprehensive summer school programs that we continue to run, and obviously those take a small army to make sure that we have everything in place. Again, just continuing to add to our sub pool. We added more substitutes. Obviously, we need that, and we continue to have trainings to bring additional substitutes into the district. The 168 certified positions, 149 were certified teachers, 19 of them were administrative positions that we include in here. Our non-certified positions include paraprofessionals, support staff, coaches, of the like. There's continue to break down a little further the teaching positions. We're breaking down a little now by the elementary, secondary, and district-wide positions. One of our main focus of for open positions is special education. It's a high needs area, not only for District 300, but other districts in the surrounding areas. We did have 47 special education teachers that we hired this year, some of them through additional changes in IEPs, program changes, XYZ. The 19 administrative positions that we had, 9 of them were internal moves. 2 of them, we'll come back in a little bit. Out of the 9 internal promotions, 7 were lead members or former teachers who became administrators in District 300, which is a great, it goes to show you how we are preparing the next generation of leaders coming on board. Our elementary, at the elementary level, we hired 36 staff members. 34 of them were classroom teachers. Some of them were added due to, in order to meet contractual language, as well as to just to facilitate the small growth in students that we did have. 2 of them were on our specials, PE, STEM. But as you can see right here, a breakdown of the different, all of our elementary buildings. And as you can see, there was really not very few principals had a light summer and not hiring any staff members. So the wealth is shared amongst all of our schools. At the secondary level, we combine our middle and high school grades right here. As you can see, Dundee Crown, and being our largest high school, had the highest number of hires coming into this year, as well as CMS being our largest student enrollment. Middle school also had the largest number of hires. Kudos to Dundee Middle School. Only ended up with hiring 1 person this year. It was a great year. We did have 38 retirements, lead retirements this past year, so that also drives some of our hires. Under special education and related services, we broke down our positions a little further into the elementary, middle, and the high school, as well as some of speech language pathologists. I believe that this is a very much a strong bond that we've developed between HR and the student services in relation to making sure that all these positions are filled on a timely basis. In regards to the administrative positions, what we have right here is at the last board meeting, 2 of the new principals were introduced in front of you. Again, there were 2 people that were already in the districts in previous roles, and they were promoted to those positions. The other 2 administrative positions that we did grow by, one is a 504 coordinators, an additional position on the education service department, as well as a dean of students at Hampshire High School, which was very much needed, and support the numbers that support that. The enrollment continues to grow, and it was something that was, I think, Hampshire High School very much welcomed that addition. Under non-certified positions, this is a breakdown of 112 positions that were hired. We had 45 paraprofessionals that we hired this year. The number of total district paraprofessionals did not increase drastically. We just happened to have a large number of retirees this year. It's cyclical. It happens, and we cannot predict some of those numbers. Again, some of the other hires were in our custodial staff, secretary support, Again, just continue to support our Buildings and Grounds Department and all of the projects that are going on throughout the district to make sure that our buildings are well prepared to receive all of our students. Or other that you see down there, we also hire some avid tutors, as well as some summer help for the Buildings and Grounds Department. So overall, on the non-certified hires, we had 112 here. And as you can see, we have broken them down by the union group. Okay. Here's a breakdown of our 484 small army of employees that we had to run all of our summer programs. Our summer programs consist of three main groups or programs. ESY. This year we did hire a large number of paraprofessionals. You can see right there is 149 paraprofessionals that were hired just specifically for that particular program. Our summer school programs at the high school, middle school and high school, which includes enrichment and credit recovery, continues to grow year after year. We expect these numbers to increase for the following year as we continue to have more offerings for our students and better prepare them. Our summer help with our media paraprofessionals as we deploy the one-on-one deployment. We need some assistance to make sure that everything is ready for the first day of school, which is ultimately what our goal would be in the HR department. Coaching positions, there's always some turnover. Obviously, we recognize today a great coach. We continue to hire great teachers as well, and they join us in some other capacities. In this case, 113 positions or job offers that were processed. When I speak of job offers, or the 1,051, I like to remind you that that is when the piece of paper comes in front of HR for us to process. That means that there's a lot of work that went behind the scenes by the administrators in working through the process. With that being said, we have 73 job offers that were internal moves. That means they went from teacher to administrator, from paraprofessional one building to the next building, so on and so forth. Again, those were not new employees to District 300, but they just changed location as to where they will continue to be employed. At this point, that's a breakdown of our numbers. Like I said, a summary of everything that we've done, but I would like to also thank some of the members of the HR department who are here, Laura Garrison, Katie Midmoyne, and Carla Hedrick, who are the three coordinators who are really the go-to people on a day-to-day basis in processing all of these job offers. Thank you.
Mr. Morrow, I have a question. I would really like to see on at least future reports, if we can't do it with this one, a breakdown by gender and race to know how we're doing with minority recruitment, because I don't think we're putting enough emphasis on that, and I'd like to know what that breakdown is. I'm not going to ask you to go do it for here, but going forward, if that's possible.
And I'm not prepared to do that because these numbers were not broken down in that particular manner, but I'll be more than happy to break this down.
Okay, and it also, just as a point of interest, on the 484 summer hires, it would be interesting to know how many of those were existing staff that chose to also work in the summer versus cold hires.
Requests of staff should be funneled through my office, so I've taken note of those requests, and we'll direct staff to take care of that in a timely manner.
Can I just ask a question and make it, I'm sorry. I want to say, great. I love seeing this kind of report, so I know what the district is doing. But I really have to show my ignorance and ask you, what is NUG?
Oh, I was wondering too.
It's a small group of District 300 employees that are considered as the non-union group.
Got it. Thank you.
They're exempt employees.
I don't think there's any more acronyms than in the school district.
You found one.
Mr. Fiorentino, did you have a question?
Just comment. Thank you, Mr. Moore. This was excellent. I don't remember seeing something to this detail this quick after the summer hiring season, so well done with that. I, too, am interested in what Mr. Stevens asked for, and that is something that we've talked about at previous board meetings, so thank you for sharing with that in the future. But well done. This is really helpful for all of us.
Thank you.
This will be posted on our new website at some point?
All of the superintendent's reports are posted, so as well as the video. So as we transition to the new website formally, all the content will follow, yes.
Excellent. Thank you.
Could I ask those wonderful ladies that do all the hard work to stand? Because I think we need to give them some recognition for all that they do.
Okay, any other questions or comments from board members? Okay, thank you. Mr. Hyde?
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, at this time, the last presentation this evening in the superintendent's report is Ms. Susan Harkin, our Chief Operating Officer, who will review the 2017-2018 student enrollment numbers and projections.
So as we get ready to celebrate our 70th year as being a school district, I thought it was important to kind of show you where our enrollment has gone from the time we started here in District 300. So back in the beginning, there were 1,600 students when the school district was officially dubbed District 300. And as of this October 1st, we're at 21,067 students. So just a little bit of a breakdown. We are in the process of the demographic study. So right now, this is just where we're at as of a comparison from 2013 to 2018. And as we get the formal demographic report, we'll be able to project out what the enrollment's going to look like into the future. I break it down by kindergarten, grades 1 through 5, 6 through 8, 9 through 12, our special ed self-contained, outplaced, our preschool, and our charter school, Cambridge Lakes. As you can see, since 2013, our kindergarten and our grades 1 through 5, our enrollment has dropped a little bit. Grades 6 through 8, 9 through 12 are on the swing up. Special ed is up a little bit, but not really significantly. Outplace is up a little bit, but not significantly. Preschool has gone down 205, and Cambridge Lakes is relatively flat. And we'll go into the subsequent slides a little bit more detail about those various groupings. But overall, since FY13, we've been up about 170 students. And we, in comparison to most school districts, continue to see increasing enrollment. The one I would draw your attention to is preschool, which is not a program that we're required to provide, and we've changed that programming around, is down 205. Really, that's more of an optional. So really, if we were to look at where we're at as a district, we would add that 205 and 170 to say we're up 375 students. So overall, K through 5, we're down 200 students, up 6 through 8, 160, up 376 students at our high school. And again, that lower preschool program of 205 is a conscious choice as to how we're providing services on a more dedicated service to our preschool families. So for our pre-K through 5, for elementary, we have 11 schools that have a dip or decline in their enrollment, and 6 schools that have an increase. Gary D. Wright is the biggest school with an increase. One thing to note up there, during this time frame that's presented to you, Lakewood has been reconfigured from a 5-6 to a K through 5 school. So that jumps out on the page, really isn't reflective of how we're currently using that building. But certainly we've seen some growth, and we're continuing to see some growth on the west side. But overall, some of our schools have had some dramatic decreases in their enrollment. But what's been good about having some declining enrollment, that's allowed us to provide for the lower class sizes that we're currently seeing. Back in the day when Sleepy Hollow was over 600 students, we know our class sizes were over 30. We are now providing full-day kindergarten, which has happened in the last couple of years. Without that additional space, we couldn't offer full-day kindergarten. We have dedicated space to STEM and art classrooms to provide that service to our elementary students. And again, as we discussed, we've changed our program for some of our preschool and our Title I schools, where we're now providing full-day grant-funded preschool, and that's taken up a full classroom, where before we could run 2 sections and we'd have multiple days that those students would be attending. So again, that space is being used in these buildings, even though in some of those cases we've got declining enrollment. With recent conversations with our villages, the current available classroom space, we're starting to really kind of be concerned about that, and that's certainly why we're doing the demographic study. We're starting to see our neighborhoods turn over, And through conversations with our local villages, it's our understanding that there could be in the next 5 to 10 years, 2,000 new houses, which will generate a lot of students. And that information will be factored into our demographic study and will be a conversation we're having as part of our master facility plan. For our 6 through 12, we're down 5 schools, we're up 3 schools. Hampshire High School being the highest, followed by Hampshire Middle School, followed by Cartersville Middle School. And again, as you recall, we changed the configuration of that school from a 7-8 to a 6-8. So that's a big reason why we're seeing that increase there. Overall, though, we're up 500 students, grades 6 through 12 from 2013 to 2018. So what does this mean? The good news that we're up is the board planned to do a referendum and build a high school out in Hampshire and reconfigure our Hampshire High School Middle School. So as was expected, we had available space out there. We're starting to put up some pressures at Hampshire Middle School with the number of students that are currently attending there. And we still do have room, though, at Hampshire High School for future growth as the bubble comes through for our middle school. Just for our other types of programming, again, down 200 students for preschool, down 6 students at our Cambridge Lake School, up 18 for our self-contained and outplace. Part of the reason for the groupings for how we look at this is as we look at available space, not each classroom will fit a preschool program or a special education program. So as we look to analyze our buildings and how we're using them, the type of program does impact it. And we know that the class sizes that we have to have for our self-contained is much different than our regular education students, certainly based upon student needs and the number of services that we have to provide them. Again, there was a conscious effort. We have a full-day preschool. We actually are providing other services for our other preschool students in a different type of setting, but again, less intensive. But at our all of our title schools, we try to provide services, with the exception of Parkview, that program moved to Dundee Highlands, a full-day preschool program that's aligned to the preschool expansion grant that we received several years ago. So average class size, we kind of talked about that. Just as we agreed in our collective bargaining agreement, our maximum core class sizes for K through 2 are 26. When we hit 27 students, we open up a new section. Grades 3 through 5, 28 is the max. At 29, we open a new classroom. We have student caps, 6 through 12. Those are what we strive to do, but that's a little bit different based upon class offerings and participation, and we do pay overload to teachers if they exceed those pieces of all of it. Overall, we're just under 22 students per teacher at the K through 5 level, and it's more difficult to calculate average class size for secondary, but based upon the numbers, we look like we're about 28.5 for our secondary class sizes. So average K-5 classroom space, what is that doing? As we look today, we have about 60 elementary classroom spaces left. But again, it's throughout the district, and there's a couple things that you need to know as we look at that. We are currently using a lot of that classroom space for our auxiliary services, whether it's pull-out for speech language, whether it's for special ed LD services, whether it's for reading intervention, for coaching. As I look at classrooms available, it's saying if we had to, we'd have to figure out a way to provide those services, but many of our schools are currently using those classrooms to still utilize for our students. But it's really, if we had to pull those back, we do have classroom space, and it would make it more difficult for those services being provided. But certainly that'll be part of our conversation as we look at the master facility plan to say, you know, what's the best way and optimal way to provide services for those in our buildings so that we've got consistency. We do have 2,000 potential housing starts out there, and that's a lot of students that potentially should be coming in through the district. So we just want to get this on your radar. That while we do have some classroom space available, we're using every space in our schools. We did buy ourselves some time with the additions that were put on at Wright and Gilbert's at this point, based upon how the classroom sections are breaking. We got 6 classrooms left in both of those buildings. And the expectation is, right, we'll be out of classroom space based upon my projections and should be verified by the demographic study that we'll be out of space in probably 4 to 5 years at that building again. So as part of our master facility plan, we'll continue to monitor the available classroom space utilization, and we'll provide you a further update once we get the demographic study to kind of discuss what next steps are out there for us in relationship to continuing to be a growing district, which is certainly a good thing, but keeping an eye on making sure that we've got the appropriate classroom space to facilitate our students and programs.
Any questions or comments from board members? Okay, thank you very much.
Madam President, there's one more portion to the superintendent's report that is not included in the overall list of presentations, and that was done intentionally. In keeping with our tradition, although we have expedited the timeline in part based upon our recent board workshop. As you know, each year we align board members not only within a feeder pattern, but we also align them and pair or partner them with a particular school. At times that's been with a new principal, at times it has not. And this evening we have several people here who will come up to the board members and introduce themselves, and these are your adopted schools for this school year. And so Ms. Miller, board president, is being adopted by Perry Elementary School, and Principal Chris Sainsbury is here this evening, and she will come up and join you. Mr. Stevens, board vice president, is being adopted by Gary D. Wright Elementary, and he will be greeted this evening by Melanie Gravel and John Kappas. Mr. Fiorentino, his adopted school this year, board secretary, will be Gulf View Elementary School. And this evening we have Lindsay Sharp and her assistant principal, Ms. Pam Carlos.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Miss Susie Kopaz is being adopted by Gilbert's Elementary School, and Mr. Craig Zulanowski is here this evening to welcome her. Welcome to the Grizzlies. Miss Kim Garcia is being adopted by Lakewood Elementary School, and Principal Brittany Porsche is here, along with Ryan Eamon, her assistant principal. And Dr. David Scarpino is going to be adopted this year by Hampshire High School, and Dr. Brett Bending is here this evening to welcome him. Go Whips.
Sorry to make you guys stay here late.
And last but certainly not least, Miss Mary McNicholas, is being adopted this year by our Dundee Crown Chargers, and Miss Katie Wachowski-Wetzel is here this evening. And so I want to say thank you to all of our principals for recognizing their board members and members of the community. Just so you understand, each school, when they adopt a board member, they build a stronger relationship. It allows a frequency of visitation. It ensures that we connect board members back to the communities in which they serve. But it also provides our building principals with a direct line of communication to the board as well. And that's mutually beneficial for all involved. What they have each been provided is at least one piece of spiritware, and that was left up to individual schools. Ms. Keys worked with each one of the schools to the extent possible to make sure that we verified sizes. No insults intended whatsoever. It's always beneficial to err on the side of caution and go bigger. We can always get you a replacement piece of spiritware. I do know that I think one is still on back order. As in keeping with past policy as well, board members, we will donate a book of your choice to each one of the school libraries that you will get a chance to sign, and we put a special sticker and recognition in there for you as well so that you can donate it to the school media center. If it's an elementary school, absolutely, I'm sure these principals would love to have you come out and read it to the students if applicable. If it's a secondary school, I'm sure they would appreciate a novels reading, but who knows, that's up to you. I know the ELA teachers would like that. So once again, I want to say thank you, principals, for adopting our board members. Thank you, board members, for being receptive. And absolutely.
Good. I'll be out, I promise.
Mr. Craig, wait, hang on. We're going to get a couple quick pictures. Anthony, if you're ready.
Oh. How do you want us? Do you want us to come up there, or do you want them to come back here?
Susie.
Not done your homework.
There you go.
Oh, is it the heat? The heat. Gotcha. Okay. So, Mr. Hyde, since I was busy talking with my new school, can you run a recap and tell who each of the, because I didn't hear who everybody else got assigned to.
I'm sorry?
I did. I stopped listening when I got appointed.
Yes,
so-
ma'am. I will review the list one more time. Ms. Miller, Perry Elementary School. Mr. Stevens, Gary D. Wright Elementary. Mr. Fiorentino, Gulfview Elementary. Ms. Copaz, Gilbert Elementary School. Kim Garcia, Lakewood Elementary School. Dr. Scarpino, Hampshire High School. And Ms. Mary McNicholas, Dundee Crown High School.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. That was a pleasant surprise. It's very
And in keeping
exciting.
with the our recent board workshop, and once we finalize the board handbook, procedural handbook, policy handbook, this will occur in the summer prior to the start of school so that board members are linked throughout the year. We've typically done it in November because that's also Board Appreciation Month, and that's why we've typically delayed it. But based on the interest in our discussion, we'll expedite that timeline in the future.
Hey, thank you.
And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Hey, thank
That was
you.
excellent. Thank you.
Moving on, I had no one sign up for public participation, and was there any legislative updates? I don't think so. No. Okay.
If I may, Madam President,
Yes.
just a reminder, board members have received several emails. We do have some local representatives, state and local, federal and state representatives who will be visiting some of our schools. Primarily, they visit our schools to talk with our students about how bills come into, or the process of passing legislation, and address any questions that they may have. So I do know that we have Senator Roscom, and I also know that we have Senator McConaughey who have planned visits within our school buildings, and you have been apprised of those dates via email.
Okay. Entertain a motion, item number 11, approve consent items.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Fiorentino?
Fiorentino, aye. Scarpino?
Aye.
Stevens?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
McNicholas?
Aye.
Copaz? And Garcia? 7-0.
Okay, item number 12, motion to approve consent items greater than 25,000.
So move.
Second. Mr. Fiorentino?
Stevens?
Aye.
Garcia?
Aye.
Fiorentino, aye. Copaz?
Aye.
McNicholas?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
And Scarpino?
Aye.
7-0.
Okay, item 13.1, consideration of a resolution providing for the issuance of not to exceed $4,486,452 of taxable debt certificates, qualified zone academy bonds of the district in order to improve the sites of and alter, repair, or equip certain school facilities, and authorizing the sale of the certificates to the purchaser thereof. Motion to approve.
So move.
Second. Mr. Fiorentino?
Stevens?
Aye.
Garcia?
Aye.
Scarpino?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
McNicholas?
Aye.
Copaz?
Aye.
And Fiorentino, aye. 7-0.
Okay, item 13.2, approval of the 2017 tentative levy resolution. Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Fiorentino?
Stevens.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
McNicholas.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Scarpino.
Aye.
And Fiorentino, aye. 7-0.
Okay, item 13.3, this is student discipline case number 1, and I have motion language here to read. Motion to expel student number 1 for the remainder of the 2017-2018 school year for violation of board policy 7:190, specifically using any form or type of aggressive behavior that causes or is likely to cause physical or psychological harm to a staff member and create a harmful disruption of the education environment, using or possessing illegal drugs, controlled substances, or drug paraphernalia, disobeying directives from staff members or school officials and/or rules and regulations governing student conduct and/or lying to school staff members or other school officials, and violation of an existing student disciplinary warning. The motion is to include Board of Education agreement to hold the expulsion in abeyance for the second semester of the 2017-2018 school year in the event the student can provide proof of the successful continuation or completion of a treatment program through an accredited drug alcohol counseling facility. If the expulsion is held in abeyance, the student will be administratively placed at Oak Ridge School. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Fiorentino.
Scarpino.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Fiorentino, aye. McNicholas.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
And Stevens.
Aye.
7-0. Passes.
Okay, item 13.4, student discipline case number 2. Motion to expel student number 2 for the remainder of the 2017-2018 school year for violation of board policy 7:190, specifically using or possessing illegal drugs, controlled substances, or drug paraphernalia, using any form or type of aggressive behavior that causes or is likely to cause physical or psychological harm to a staff member and create a harmful disruption of the education environment, disobeying directives from staff members or school officials and/or rules and regulations governing student conduct and/or lying to school staff members or other school officials, violation of alternative to expulsion for substance abuse agreement. The motion is to include Board of Education agreement to hold the expulsion in abeyance for the second semester of the 2017-2018 school year in the event the student can provide proof of the successful continuation or completion of a treatment program through an accredited drug alcohol counseling facility. If the expulsion is held in abeyance, the student will be administratively placed at Oak Ridge School. Motion to
So
approve.
moved.
Second.
Mr. Fiorentino.
Fiorentino, aye. Scarpino.
Aye.
Stevens.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
McNicholas.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
And Garcia.
Aye.
Passes 7-0.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, board committee reports. Anything more on board finance? I noticed that we had the minutes of the last meeting.
No, the minutes are in the packet. Susan pretty well presented everything we discussed, so.
Thank you. Board construction and facility oversight committee?
We haven't met since the last meeting, but our next meeting is on Monday, November 6th at 5 o'clock, directly following the finance meeting.
And there were minutes also included in
Yes.
our packet. Any other board comments, questions, discussion, updates? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.